Welcome to This Explainer. If you're a GCSE Edexcel psychology student currently tackling the development topic, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're diving into the work of Jean Piaget. He was a pioneering Swiss psychologist, and honestly, understanding his theory on cognitive processes completely changes how you look at how kids learn and grow.
Piaget basically spent his entire life obsessing over one massive question. What exactly are the stages of cognitive development? Like, how do a child's thought processes actually evolve from the moment they're born to adulthood? And how can we use that information in real-world education?
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with Piaget's foundational theory of cognition. Then we'll walk chronologically through his 4 developmental stages: sensorimotor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and finally, formal operational.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Piaget's theory of cognition, the foundation.
Before we jump into all the different ages and stages, what even is cognition? Simply put, it's how we use our mental processes to acquire knowledge and understanding. It's the whole shebang: thinking, perceiving, remembering, and reasoning. Piaget's real light bulb moment was realizing that children aren't just mini adults who simply know less than we do. Instead, they actively adapt to the world through experience, and how they think fundamentally changes as they grow.
And that brings us to this fascinating concept of schemas. Think of a schema as a mental building block, or like a folder in a filing cabinet. They are the mental representations a child uses to make sense of the world. Say a toddler has a schema that all 4-legged animals are dogs. Well, what happens when they meet a cat? Suddenly, they have to adapt. As kids experience new things, they build intelligence by either tweaking their existing schemas or creating brand new ones.
So Piaget maps all of this out into 4 distinct sequential stages. And here's the absolute crucial thing to remember for your exam. A child doesn't just slowly gather more facts over time. To level up to the next stage, their brain actually has to undergo a fundamental qualitative shift in how it processes reality.
All right, let's get into the timeline. Stage 1, sensorimotor, spanning from birth to about 2 years old.
The name of this stage literally gives away exactly what's happening. Babies learn by linking their 5 senses to objects. That's the sensor part. It's why they put absolutely everything in their mouths. The motor part refers to movement. They're progressing from hardwired reflexes to controlled actions, like deliberately tossing a toy on the floor just to see what happens. At this stage, they are living entirely in the present moment, zero concept of time, and basically no language skills yet.
But the ultimate boss battle of this first stage is something called object permanence. This usually clicks around 8 months, and it's the understanding that something still exists even when it's out of sight. This is exactly why games like Peekaboo are such a big deal. They actively help babies wire this specific milestone into their brains.
Moving right along to Stage 2, the pre-operational stage, occurring from ages 2 to 7.
This is a period of massive cognitive growth, and we chop it into 2 subphases. First, from ages 2 to 4, the symbolic function stage. This is peak pretend play. Kids start using objects as symbols, like a cardboard box suddenly becoming a rocket ship. They also do this cute thing called animism, where they give lifelike qualities to inanimate objects. Then, from 4 to 7, we hit intuitive thought. This is the why phase. Why is the sky blue? Why is water wet? But they have a major cognitive glitch called centration, meaning they get stuck focusing on just one single aspect of a situation at a time. Okay, highlight this next term in your notes because it is a massive feature of pre-operational thinking: egocentrism. Now, this doesn't mean the child is selfish or arrogant. It literally means they are physically incapable of seeing the world from another person's perspective. They just assume you see, hear, and feel exactly what they do. So, how do psychologists actually test for this? Well, this leads us to 2 super famous contrasting studies that you will definitely want to remember.
On one hand, we have Piaget and Helder's classic 3 mountains task. Kids had to guess what a doll saw from the other side of a mountain model, and they completely failed. This heavily supported Piaget's theory of egocentrism. But then, a researcher named Hughes comes along with his policeman doll study. He asked kids to hide a little boy doll behind intersecting walls so a policeman doll couldn't spot him. And guess what? The young kids totally nailed it. This actually modifies Piaget's theory, showing us that if a task makes real-world, intuitive sense to them, kids might not be quite as egocentric as Piaget originally thought.
All right, on to Stage 3, concrete operational, covering ages 7 to 12. This is where kids lose that egocentrism, start developing real empathy, and can finally apply logical rules. The holy grail of this stage is conservation. That's the understanding that volume, mass, or quantity stays exactly the same even if its physical appearance changes. They can finally decenter and reverse actions in their minds.
You've probably seen videos of this classic test. You pour juice from a short, wide glass into a tall, skinny one. A pre-operational kid will swear up and down that the tall glass magically has more juice. But a concrete operational kid, they aren't falling for it. They conserve the volume in their mind. The same goes for spacing out a row of coins. Just making the line longer doesn't trick them into thinking there are more coins.
Finally, Stage 4, Formal Operational, starting around age 12 and carrying on into adulthood.
Let me ask you something directly. What do you see yourself doing in 10 years' time? The mere fact that you can sit there and conjure up a complex, entirely hypothetical future is a brand new cognitive superpower that only comes online during this formal operational stage. Your brain gets some major upgrades here. You can now juggle multiple ideas at the same time. You understand complex sequences and grasp that what you do today has real-world consequences tomorrow. But the absolute game changer is hypothetico-deductive reasoning. It's a mouthful for sure, but it basically means you can imagine abstract outcomes to scenarios that haven't even happened yet. It's the entire foundation of scientific and philosophical thinking.
When you look at this entire path of adaptation, it's honestly incredible. We literally start as newborns operating on nothing but reflexes, and we level up, stage by stage, into young adults capable of wildly complex hypothetical thought.
Okay, here is your ultimate summary timeline. Seriously, take a screenshot of this right now because it's pure gold for organizing your revision notes. Sensory motor from birth to 2, pre-operational up to 7, concrete operational up to 12, and formal operational for 12 and beyond.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. If Piaget hit the nail on the head and our intelligence is constantly developing through adaptation, what new schemas are you going to build tomorrow? Keep pushing those cognitive boundaries because learning literally never stops. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and good luck with your studies.